Now to the latest on the coronavirus. Attorney General Jeff Landry wants Governor Edwards to consider opening churches sooner rather than later. He expressed his concerns in a letter to the governor, saying if we don't, we could see public unrest. Cherise Gibson is live this evening and joins us with more on that. Good evening, Cherise.
Good evening to you, Karen. Jeff Landry was alluding to some unrest that we've seen in other states and also right here in Louisiana. But with Landry making the call for churches to reopen, we wondered if those churches are even prepared to do so.
I'm always interested in loosening restrictions on churches.
Governor Bel Edwards publicly responded to a letter from Attorney General Jeff Landry asking the governor to amend a proclamation that stops churches and houses of worship from gathering.
We're going to do so in a way that we feel comfortable, that aren't going to cause a spike in cases.
According to Landry, there is some concern growing with the faith-based community. He says some are growing weary with the continued prohibition to reopen their churches, which may lead to many beginning to ignore the orders.
There's something going on in America today.
Pastor Tony Spell of Tabernacle Church in central Louisiana continues to hold service with hundreds of members, despite multiple misdemeanor charges and being placed on house arrest. A member of Spell's church recently died due to COVID-19 complications. It's not known where he contracted the virus.
Many of us are not mentally handling this time in our lives.
Most churches have resorted to virtual services, including Franklin Avenue Baptist Church.
We've been live streaming now for 6 weeks. I've been preaching the empty seats for 6 weeks.
Pastor Fred Luter says while he and other churchgoers are anxious to get back in their house of worship, he's abiding by local and state guidelines.
We're sanitizing the church. When people come in, there'll be hand sanitizer at every entrance. Those who don't have masks, we'll be going to give them masks to make sure that everybody is safe.
While Pastor Luter is awaiting the word of the governor and Mayor Cantrell, he says he doesn't plan to join other churches in hosting a service that could potentially put his members in danger.
As a pastor, you must look out for the sheep, and there's no way in the world a pastor should have his sheep at risk of getting hurt.
And Governor Edwards hopes to reopen Phase 1 right after that May 15th stay-at-home order that he extended has been lifted. Now, part of reopening in that Phase 1 is allowing that limit of 10 people in a church to now increase to 25% of that church building's occupancy limit. Now, when you're talking about a church like Franklin Avenue Baptist Church, they can regularly see about 3,000 members on an average Sunday. So Pastor Luter told me that they plan to now host multiple services in order to not only hold services in a safe way, but of course to meet that state order. Karen.